And I want to start off with saying things are not always as they appear.
Oh my goodness, what an incredible mother this is, taking on this challenge of raising a child with so many medical problems.
They believe she might have leukemia, could not walk, was in a wheelchair. I mean, you name it, this girl had it.
What eventually came out fairly quickly was that it was a scam.
The big shock to a lot of people was that she was up and walking around.
At some point, you decided to kill your mother, is that correct?
Yes.
Dee Dee Blanchard had been stabbed multiple times in the back.
Very brutal, extremely, extremely brutal, and almost a severing of her head.
I'm sorry that I lied to you from the beginning. I'll tell you the truth all now.
Breaking news now, 2 people charged in the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, including her daughter Gypsy and her boyfriend Nicholas Godejohn.
Okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
Gypsy manipulated Nick, a low-functioning person with autism. Whose idea was it to kill your mother?
Mine.
I don't think we're ever going to get the full story from either one of them as to what actually went down.
So the question is, who's the mastermind?
Your wife is in a bar. You said she's unresponsive.
This is what he's going to tell you.
How to get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir.
The only thing they could do was kill him.
You want to say anything? We, the jury, and to find the defendant.
I think, we live here in a generous community, Springfield, that likes to look out for one another.
A community that opened its heart to Dee Dee Blanchard and her daughter Gypsy.
She had moved here after Hurricane Katrina, had this daughter Gypsy who had all kinds of medical issues.
They believe she might have leukemia, that she was asthmatic, that she had seizures. She had ear problems, eye problems. She was paralyzed from the waist down, could not walk, was in a wheelchair. I mean, you name it, this girl had it.
She captured sort of the heart of the Springfield community early on.
They got a house from Habitat for Humanity in Missouri.
It's so easy to live here, and it's so peaceful.
And I think the headline was something like, Hurricane Katrina survivors, happily settled here in Springfield.
It just proves that happy endings are not just in fairy tales, they're real.
Gypsy's mother seems so brave in the face of so much adversity.
Oh my goodness, what an incredible mother this is to, she's on her own here, taking on this challenge of raising a child with so many medical problems.
But then, on a warm summer night in Springfield, just after midnight, the home built for Dee Dee Blanchard and her daughter Gypsy became the scene of a brutal crime. Dee Dee Claudine Blanchard murdered in her bedroom, her daughter missing, the community in shock.
Just total shock. We have this mother and daughter who just seems, so happy and good-hearted.
Friends had seen a Facebook post on Dee Dee and Gypsy's shared site. That bitch is dead.
That Facebook post was seen by friends and neighbors of Claudine. They ended up then contacting the sheriff's office to do a well-being check, and that's ultimately how Claudine's body was found.
A gruesome scene.
Very brutal, extremely, extremely brutal, and almost a severing of her head.
And police found that Gypsy's wheelchair was still in the house, but no sign of Gypsy.
And then, okay, well that really ramps up the need to find her, because, you're thinking, okay, she's, maybe helpless out there without her mom. And
first, they all thought that, somebody had kidnapped Gypsy. The second Facebook message indicated that the perpetrator had done something to Gypsy sexually.
By tracking the internet data on the Facebook post, police were able to locate a possible suspect almost 500 miles away, outside Waukesha, Wisconsin. to the home of a young man by the name of Nicholas Godejohn.
So they went out, and there was actually a standoff between Nicholas and the police for a brief moment. He was brandishing a knife and waving it around, and he didn't want to come out.
It wasn't even known yet if Gypsy was still alive, but that if she was, it was still thought that she was possibly a prisoner being held hostage by Mr. Godejohn at that point.
But when police got inside the Godejohn house, they found her, along with a load of cash and disguises and wigs she and Godejohn had used. She was there of her own free will.
And that's when they first learned not only that, but they're actually in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend.
This case has taken several disturbing twists since their disappearance.
And then this stunning moment. Gypsy standing up on her own.
The big shock to a lot of people was that she was up and walking around.
The young woman who supposedly needed a house with ramps and specialized facilities was not paralyzed at all. And then doctors at the hospital had another surprise for the good people of Springfield.
That's when they learned there was nothing wrong with her.
No leukemia, no asthma, no seizures, no paralysis.
I want to start off with saying things are not always as they appear.
What eventually came out fairly quickly was that it was a scam.
A scam the mother had been pulling off apparently for years as a way to trick sympathetic people and charities out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The wheelchair's just a prop.
And a lot of people were hurt when they discovered that, Gypsy didn't really have any medical problems and that her mom had sort of duped everyone into being charitable towards them.
But for police, the focus was not the scam, but the murder of Dee Blanchard. And her daughter and her boyfriend were brought to the Waukesha Police Department as prime suspects. Gypsy acting as if she had not a care in the world as she waited for the detectives from Missouri to arrive.
Never asked about her mom. She never asked, why am I here?
And then Detective Stan Hancock arrives from Springfield, ready to cut to the chase.
Well, Gypsy, we are here investigating something, so I do need to talk with you about some things, okay?
I'm thankful because I have no idea why I'm here.
Okay.
Nobody will tell me anything.
Yeah, okay. Your mom's dead, okay? Now, what I want to ask you is, your mom's passed away, okay? And she's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this?
She's like, no, oh my gosh, was it a heart attack? Did she commit suicide?
Please tell me she did not commit suicide. She had bipolar.
Okay.
All these different things, and she just kind of sticks to this story of I didn't know, I didn't know, I didn't know.
I know you do. I know you, sweetheart, I know you love your mom. I have no doubt that you love your mom.
I should have never left. I should have never left.
Good. Listen to me, okay? I know you love your mom. And don't you think your mom loves you? Don't you think your mom just is worried about you? Loves you? Okay? But we gotta get down to the bottom of why. Okay?
I honestly didn't do anything to my mama.
Who did?
I don't know.
But that was a lie, like most of her life. Little girls love to dress up as princesses, none more so than Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Gypsy lived a rich fantasy life. That's all she really had.
That fantasy life became the key to understanding Gypsy, the key for Detective Stan Hancock to unravel Gypsy's lies about her role in the murder of her mother, Dee Dee.
Sweetheart, like, do you really want to dig yourself? You're digging yourself deeper.
No,
Okay?
seriously, I would never hurt her.
Listen to me, okay? I don't play around with that, okay? I'm not gonna play around with this, okay?
I didn't do
Listen to me.
They realized quite early, before they even walked into the the room that, you know, that she had her wits about her. She's not a stupid girl by any means. In fact, she's extremely intelligent.
Gypsy's bizarre case was investigated by Fancy Maselli for her podcast, The Good Wife's Guide to True Crime.
Now, she's not educated. Her mother didn't, you know, send her to school. You know, Disney movies and books were her education.
The Disney fantasy world became Gypsy's escape from a life with a cruel mother who had used and abused her since almost from birth, telling her and the world that she had cancer, leukemia, and an endless list of other ailments.
Gypsy did not necessarily know it was a scam. She truly believed she had these conditions.
Gypsy has a full denture set. It's pretty sad, you know, that her teeth rotted right out of her head. And a lot of that has to do with the medications that she was given.
I can only imagine how awful that would have been to have been trapped in a home like that, where like a prisoner basically her whole life.
At one point, as a teenager with dyed hair, Gypsy's mother locked her in a backyard shed when she learned her daughter was messaging with boys online.
In this shed is nothing except for a toddler bed. According to Gypsy, she was told that, you know, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, I'll put you in there and you'll never come out again. Gypsy wanted freedom. She didn't want to be under her mom's thumb anymore.
It was when the premiere date for the Disney film Cinderella was announced that Gypsy asked a boy she had met on a Christian dating site to come to Springfield, Nicholas Godeja.
I invited him to come in March to see Cinderella with me.
She was dressed to the nines as Cinderella. She had the big wig on, the big huge blue dress on. So she looked like a fairy tale princess, and he's kind of dressed like Prince Charming.
Unfortunately, it hurt my mom's feelings because I paid more attention to him than her.
Okay.
And anyway, she didn't like him from then on.
Somehow Gypsy convinces her mom she needs to go to the restroom, and so she wheels herself out, and then Nick leaves the theater as well, and they meet up in the bathroom, the handicapped bathroom, and that is where they had sex for the very first time. How romantic, right? She's never even been kissed by a boy at this point, and her first experience with any type of physical contact with another human is, you know, sex in a bathroom in a movie theater at the premiere of Cinderella.
He said that it's us against the world, and that he's gonna protect me no matter what, and that we were gonna get married and everything, and nothing was gonna stop us.
So now, after almost 2 hours of lies, Detective Stan Hancock was finally, slowly getting the truth out of Gypsy. That it was then, after Cinderella, that the plan to murder her mother began to take shape.
But why did Nick hurt her? Now's the time to be truthful, sweetheart. No more lies.
The only reason I could think is because he wanted me to himself.
Okay.
Because my mom kept on getting in the way of us being together.
Sure she did. She didn't like Nick. She didn't want her little baby girl to grow up. She wanted to keep her little baby girl young, didn't she?
The truth of it really began to come out. Detective Hancock did a great job of sort of establishing a rapport with her and not being judgmental, not being aggressive, because those are the types of things that can cause someone to shut down and not provide information.
I'm sorry that I lied to you from the beginning. I'll tell you the truth all now.
Okay. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I love him so much, but maybe you can't help now. Reconciling what you said. He killed my mom.
She finally said it.
He killed my mom.
And then Gypsy began to describe how she helped Nicholas sneak into her house late that night, handing him a knife she had stolen for him at Walmart.
What was your mom doing at that point when she was asleep?
She was asleep, and I got up to use the restroom. And at that point, he had put me in the bathroom, and he had locked the door.
Okay.
And he went to my mom's room, and I heard her cry. I heard him scream for my name.
You heard your mom crying. You heard your mom crying. And you heard your mom calling out your name. What did you
scream?
She was screaming. Can you describe her screaming to me? No, that's an awkward question.
Startled.
Okay.
And then she kept screaming louder and louder. And then she had said, Gypsy, Gypsy. I think I knew what he was doing.
At that point, you knew what he was doing.
I knew what he was doing.
And your mom was hollering at you for you.
But I was too afraid to go because I was afraid he'd do the same to me.
And then she said, into her bedroom.
In shock. And then he took me to my bedroom. And he made me take off all my toys off the bed.
So it made you take all your toys off your bed. Okay.
And he raped me.
And he raped you.
But Detective Hancock was skeptical, taking photos to document what Gypsy said were the bruises she suffered at the hands of Nicholas Godejohn. As babyish as she sounded and often acted, Detective Hancock realized he was talking with a young woman who was a practiced liar.
She's calculating, she is manipulative, and these are all things that are created by what her mother taught her and did.
I'm asking you to direct him straight. You don't think he's going to tell me that you had anything to do with your mom's killing? This is the time to be honest, because like I told you, walk out that door.
He has a romantic notion of us doing everything together as a team, but I didn't want this. I wanted my mom and him to...
So did you kill your mom?
No, no sir.
Did you help
No sir.
Nicholas kill your mom?
No sir. No sir.
Did you have knowledge that Nicholas was going to kill your mom before he did it?
No sir.
She truly believed she was going to get up and walk back out of there.
But down the hall, her boyfriend Nicholas Godejohn was about to tell a much different story.
I don't think we're ever going to get the full story from either one of them as to what actually went down.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn, two very challenged people. Gypsy trying to break away from a cruel mother.
Absolutely. She was a victim. I mean, all the way through, she is a victim.
Nicholas, socially awkward, but looking for love.
We came to learn he did have autism, in that he was living at home with his parents and was primarily had this entire life and personality that was lived exclusively online.
And as they went into hiding after the murder of Gypsy's mother, staying in this motel, waiting for a bus to take them to his home in Wisconsin, the two lovebirds cooked up a plan to avoid getting caught.
Mr. Godejohn thought he was going to get away with it. They had planned to mail the murder weapon and a glove from Springfield back to Mr. Godejohn's house prior to getting on the bus. Before they ultimately left, they had come up with a pre-planned story for what to say should they be caught and asked what happened.
Hello. You've been here a long time waiting on me to get here?
Oh my gosh, have I ever done?
It did not take long for Mr. Godejohn to abandon the pre-planned story that he just sort of stole Gypsy in the middle of the night.
Detective Angela Mahoney played on the young man's feelings for Gypsy to get him to implicate her.
And you love her?
Oh, do I ever.
You love her a lot?
I was bummed my eyes out waiting for this moment to where I can talk to you.
Okay.
Because I was so worried about her.
So, do you want to do the right thing by Gypsy if you love her?
No, the truth is I worship her. So
I know you
there's
do.
no way I wouldn't do it on her.
I know.
I would think for her.
I know you do. I believe you do. but this is the point where you're going to prove whether you do or not, okay? When me and you talk.
Okay.
Okay? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to Gypsy for her to be honest and you to lie, okay? So what I want to know is can you tell me this first? Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay. So Gypsy knew you were going to do it because Gypsy asked you to.
Yes.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
And then really from there on, he is very forthright and very detailed in what actually happened.
Because, and then the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
I know. Okay.
Filling in the grisly details of what happened that night in Dee Dee's bedroom as he stabbed her.
Do you know how many times you stabbed her?
4.
You stabbed her 4?
Yeah, 4 times.
The autopsy of Dee Dee Blanchard would show she was actually stabbed 17 times, her head nearly severed.
And then she called up for Gypsy, but Gypsy didn't do anything.
Okay. She hollered for Gypsy.
Yes.
Did she holler for Gypsy once, twice, 5 times?
3 times.
3 times? And what was she saying? Can you tell me how she said it?
She pretty much yelped it.
Yelped it?
Yeah, she was like, Gypsy!
Okay.
Yeah, she was loud.
And what did you do when she did that?
It didn't stop me from keep on going.
Okay. You just kept stabbing her?
Yeah.
And then they begin a cleanup procedure where actually he asks Gypsy to clean naked. That was his request because that was something that turned him on, cleaning up this murder scene while she's naked.
And then she wanted to have sex with me, so I did.
Okay. She wanted to have sex with you?
Yes.
Okay.
But down the hall, Gypsy had already told detectives that Nicholas forced himself on her.
He raped me.
And he raped you?
And detectives soon recognized that Nicholas Godejohn had serious issues. That he had 2 people inside his head, one good, one evil.
The one who actually did all this, the thing is, the good side of me, originally refused to do it.
Okay.
And that's the reason why it was instant that it happened right away.
Okay.
Because my evil side is what actually did it.
Okay.
An evil side with a name, Victor.
So Victor is one of the characters that Nicholas made up. He's his evil side, and he claims that he is a 500-year-old vampire who enjoys killing.
You just got angry.
More than one person inside me. There's actually multiple personalities of myself.
Have you been diagnosed with that?
I probably should be diagnosed with it because it happens. The thing is, I used to take medication because I used to hear voices in my head.
Right. Well, you seem like a pretty honorable person, and you love Gypsy, so, I mean...
Well, that's the thing. I admitted to it. The thing is, me and Gypsy have cried multiple times.
Together over this?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've told her this will haunt me for the rest of my life because it's the truth, it will.
Breaking news now, 2 people charged in the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, including her daughter Gypsy and her boyfriend Nicholas Godejohn. Both are now in custody.
They had solved the case. Both Gypsy and Nicholas were charged with first-degree murder. But would a jury convict a young woman whose mother had so abused her over the years? Would a jury convict a young man on the autism spectrum who thought he was Prince Charming, rescuing Cinderella?
This is a tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception.
Gypsy fell through every crack possible. The family was suspicious. They knew things were wrong, and they did nothing. Doctors knew things were wrong, and they did nothing.
As the sad tale of Gypsy Blanchard's childhood abuse became widely known,
It is just horrifying to think that this could go on for 23 3 years.
Prosecutors in Missouri had a big decision to make about the 2 suspects sitting in the Greene County, Missouri jail.
You have the person, someone who actually physically carried out the murder that we have to charge.
Nicholas Godejohn.
But then also a co-participant that may have not, in this case, physically wielded the knife.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
But was just as involved in the murder that we also had to charge.
But given all that Gypsy had been through at the hands of a cruel and abusive mother, prosecutors feared a jury might have excused what she did.
Due to that long-term abuse that she had already suffered, that ultimately she ended up pleading to second-degree murder with a 10-year sentence in prison,
with the possibility of parole in just a few years. But there was no talk of going that easy on Nicholas Godejohn, even though a first-degree murder charge was going to be difficult to prove.
There was the misconception that what Mr. Godejohn did was sort of this act of chivalry, that he did it to save Gypsy from this situation. That was going to be a challenge to overcome. And then ultimately overcoming the defense, the fact that Mr. Godejohn did have autism.
May it please the court.
Yes. Outside of Claudine Blanchard's bedroom door stood the defendant, dressed in all black, wearing blue latex gloves, holding a knife. For the defendant, he was in love with Gypsy Blanchard, Claudine's daughter. And as he stood there, the only thing that stood between him being with Gypsy was Claudine.
The key for the prosecution was to show that Godejohn, looking much heavier since his arrest, had the mental capacity to make his own decisions, autism or not.
And so it really came down to this, this autism that Mr. Godejohn had. He had 2 thoughts. A benevolent thought that he described as an angel on one shoulder that said, just take Gypsy and run, and a malevolent thought, a devil on the other shoulder that said, the bitch is dead. Yes, this was Gypsy's idea, but the defendant on June 10th was ready to kill.
And prosecutor Nathan Chapman showed the jury some of the text messages that Nicholas sent to Gypsy. Is your mom a light sleeper? It's my evil side doing it. He won't mess up because he enjoys killing.
And these texts show he was enjoying it. He was looking forward to it. He was excited about it.
As the prosecutor made the case against him, Nicholas Godejohn seemed disengaged, one of the known affects of autism.
You could tell just the way that he was, just not very socialized, just kind of, odd behaviors, just sitting, slouching down in his seat and just, looking around in sort of an odd manner.
In his opening statement, Godejohn's lawyer, Andrew Mead, portrayed his client as someone easy to manipulate.
Gypsy knew there was only one way she was going to be able to spend a life with Nick. There was only one way to get out from under the grasp of her mother, and that was to kill her mother. Nick was happy to do whatever Gypsy wanted. He was always compliant. You're going to hear testimony about Nick's autism. He has a low IQ. He suffers cognitive disabilities. And in the end, folks, you're going to understand the dynamics of this case, that Nick wasn't able to formulate the necessary mental state to commit murder in the first degree.
But right away, the jury saw the video of Godejohn being questioned by Detective Angelo Maholi and admitting to the murder of D.D. Blanchard.
And then the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I eliminated it.
I know. Okay.
On cross-examination, Godejohn's lawyers tried to suggest Detective Mahoney had taken advantage of him.
Did you know that he was on the autism spectrum?
No, sir.
Had you received any kind of information that he was on the autism spectrum?
No, sir.
Now, this particular interview took place right after midnight,
Yes, sir.
and he seemed tired to you, is that correct?
At times when he would say he was tired, he did appear that he might be tired.
Did that cause you to question whether you should continue to question him, given the fact that he was tired and it was after midnight?
No, sir. Being tired is not a deal breaker on an interview.
But Godejohn's case was not helped when the jury saw a jailhouse interview he did with a TV reporter while he awaited trial, when he wasn't tired, and also admitted to the murder, describing his deliberations.
The darker part of me was also in love with the darker part of her. And because of it, the thought was, excuse my French, but it basically said, this bitch is dead.
Mr. Perry, do you have a witness you wish to call?
Gypsy Blanchard, Judge.
Gypsy was called by the defense, not the prosecution. She was to be their star witness, trying to save her prince, starting with a scathing denunciation of her mother.
Why were you in a wheelchair in June of 2015?
Because my mother forced me to be in one.
Was there a time between when you first were put in a wheelchair in June of 2015 that you figured out that you really didn't need to be in a wheelchair?
Yes.
When was that?
I always knew that I didn't need the wheelchair.
And how did you know that?
Because I could walk.
It was testimony the prosecution knew could be a game changer.
We all knew she was somewhat of a sympathetic figure at that point, and there was a concern that that would potentially create a situation where a jury may again think that Mr. Godejohn did what he did to save Gypsy from these awful conditions that she was in fact in.
What illnesses did you believe you had?
Cancer, muscular dystrophy. I needed glasses. I needed hearing aids. Seizure disorder. And I can't remember what else.
And when did you figure out that you weren't actually sick?
I started to piece things together when I was about 19 years old. Then I didn't understand the full extent of how healthy I was until after I got arrested.
Why did you not tell doctors that you knew you could walk or you didn't believe yourself to be ill during the time that you were doing this?
I didn't think that anyone would believe me. I thought they would eventually tell my mom, and that would make my home life even worse for me. I feared her more than I feared anyone else.
And Gypsy testified she paid for everything. Bus fare, motels, even the murder weapon was the knife she stole from Walmart. She also admitted that she, not Godejohn, posted the Facebook messages.
Why would you make that post claiming to be Nick?
I wanted her to be found. I wanted the cops to find her body.
Godejohn stared intently as his one-time girlfriend did her best to save him.
Gosh, it looked like he was looking directly through her. You could tell she was terrified.
When you see the pictures of Gypsy and Dee Dee together, she just looks like a little child, you know, with oftentimes wearing a little hat. And then when you saw her on the stand in Godejohn's murder trial, I mean, she's a woman, definitely a grown-up.
And then finally, the pivotal question from Godejohn's lawyer, Dwayne Perry.
Whose idea was it to kill your mother?
Mine.
Why did you want to kill your mother?
Because I wanted to be free of her hold on me.
And with that, the defense now hoped the jury would see the victim, Dee Dee Blanchard, as the person who should really be on trial.
Now, I have never seen facts quite like this. Autism becomes a big factor here.
the mental capacity issue is really where this lies. So the question is, who's the mastermind?
And it was vital for the defense to show Nicholas Godejohn was not the mastermind. That was the role of their final and only second witness, clinical psychologist Kent Franks.
Have a seat, okay? He has an autism spectrum disorder. His ability to perceive reality is tenuous. He had a psychotic episode when he was 13 years old and hallucinated and talked about hearing 7 or 8 different kinds of voices.
You just got angry.
More than one person inside me. There's actually multiple personalities of myself.
But it would become a battle of the experts, with the prosecution putting its own clinical psychologist on the stand, Dr. Robert Denny.
Did you find the defendant to be intellectually impaired?
I did not.
And then Dr. Denny used the surveillance footage of Godejohn and Gypsy to bolster his opinion. Godejohn cool when they were told there were not enough seats on the bus they wanted to take back to Wisconsin.
What's striking to me is that he did not blow up. He did not react angry or frustrated or which is something that would be very common with somebody with autism.
And then the interaction between Godejohn and Gypsy.
Because you could see where they got in and out of the cab and would walk in and walk the other way. He would hold the door for her. When they walked by on a sidewalk, he was leading, she was following. It looked very normal to me.
Dr. Denny was the last witness the jury heard, the last word on Nicholas Godejohn's mental capacity.
There's been another obvious presence here throughout this trial.
Prosecutor Nathan Chapman knew it was essential to get the jury's focus off Gypsy and the abuse she suffered at the hands of her mother, the victim.
If we're not careful, there can be a tendency to let Gypsy's narrative overshadow what we're really here to decide. Because all along, flying under the radar, coolly, deliberately, was the defendant, Nicholas Godejohn.
And again, the jury was shown Godejohn's text messages as he planned the murder.
He's not doing anything different than someone else who's planning a murder, taking steps to incapacitate the victim, taking steps in case you're caught to have a story. His mild autism changes nothing about any of the deliberation that you just saw. There's just no other decision than he is guilty of first-degree murder and armed criminal action.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm in, Judge.
All right.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Let's get one thing straight. Who wanted Claudine Blanchard dead? Who? Gypsy did. Gypsy wanted Claudine Blanchard dead. She is fully capable of deception because that's how she lived her life. She was trained that way by her own mother. Gypsy manipulated Nick, a low-functioning person with autism. And then Gypsy pressures Nick into committing a homicide against her mother when he was only trying to help the woman he loved.
All along, it was clear that Godejohn's lawyer, Dwayne Perry, had given up on pushing for a not guilty verdict, but instead wanted the jury to find his client guilty of the lesser charge of second-degree murder.
I believe after all the evidence that you consider, there is reasonable doubt as to his capacity to deliberate first-degree murder. And I believe the appropriate verdict in this case is one of the lesser homicides. Thank you very much for your time.
The facts of the murder of Dee Blanchard were never in dispute. The 17 stab wounds, the knife Gypsy stole for him to use, and Nicholas Godejohn admitting to it on video.
And then the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
So the jury was not expected to be out for long.
The main decision that they had to make was if he had the capacity, if Mr. Godejohn had the capacity to deliberate, then he was guilty of first-degree murder. If he did not, then he was guilty of second-degree murder.
And the difference would mean how long Nicholas Godejohn would go to prison.
A first-degree murder is life without parole. A second-degree murder has a minimum of 10 and also can go up to life, but it's not an automatic sentence. It was all hanging on that decision.
Godejohn had not testified during the trial, but in a sign of optimism just before the verdict was read, Godejohn told the judge he would abide by the jury's decision on sentencing if he was found guilty of second-degree murder.
And if they find you of a lesser on count 1, you are still asking for jury sentencing, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have there been any threats made to you to get you to waive that right?
No, sir.
Have there been any promises?
No, sir.
And with that, Nicholas Godejohn was ready to hear the jury's verdict.
Would you pass down the file folders, please?
Which narrative had the jury come to believe? Who was the mastermind?
Gypsy manipulated Nick, a low-functioning person with autism. Whose idea was it to kill your mother?
Mine.
His mild autism changes nothing.
As to count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant, Nicholas Godejohn, guilty of murder in the first degree. We assess and declare the punishment for murder in the first degree at imprisonment for life without the possibility of probation or parole.
The autism defense did not work. While Gypsy will be eligible for parole in the next few years, Nicholas will spend the rest of his life behind bars.
The bottom line is he still stabbed an individual, regardless of who it was, 17 times. And he, by the evidence in the trial, enjoyed doing that. And I believe that justice was very much served in keeping him out of the community for as long as we possibly could.
I don't think there is justice in this case. I think that everyone is broken and there's not a way to really put the pieces back together.
A grim ending to what started as an abused child's longing for a Cinderella fairy tale.
It just proves that happy endings are not just in fairy tales, they're real.
Not on this day, not in this courtroom.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today because the defendant, Brooke Richardson, murdered a baby that she didn't want and never intended to keep.
She's a great student. She started doing competitive cheer outside of the school.
Skylar has just learned she's pregnant and she tells no one. Nobody knows about this.
Sometime when her mother, father, and brother were asleep, Skylar delivers a baby girl. She names her daughter Annabelle. And then she buries the remains in the backyard.
He did give birth to a newborn infant. He caused the death of that infant. She subsequently burned the infant.
They were on a one-way track to get her to confess so they could take her to jail.
Are you gonna put me in jail because of that?
People were ready to convict. There was false information everywhere. It was ugly.
She was determined to keep her secret.
Skylar, if they do an autopsy on the baby and they find out that it was living at the time of the birth, then you will go to jail.
I never meant to kill my baby.
Your wife is in a bar. You said she's unresponsive.
This is what he's going to tell you.
How to get out of that situation. And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir.
The only thing they could do was kill him.
You want to say anything? We, the jury, and find the defendant.
Small town USA, it's a pretty tight-knit community.
Carlisle is in the southwest corner of Ohio. It's a town of subdivision. A lot of people that grow up in Carlisle don't leave.
A little bit of rural on the outskirts and not really large.
This is where the Richardson family lives in Carlisle. Kim, son Jackson, Scott, and their daughter, Skylar.
She's a great student, National Junior Honor Society. She started doing competitive cheer outside of the school. That's what she really enjoyed. She's just
a peacemaker.
Yeah, peacemaker.
By all appearances, she was happy-go-lucky.
But appearances, as always, can be deceiving.
I noticed she was constantly looking at herself in the mirror. She was counting every calorie that she ate. The day that she said she couldn't get a pack of gum because it had 5 calories per piece, that really hit home. Her eating disorder defines her.
We had taken her to several different places. We tried several different things. It was extremely frustrating.
She did not develop at all, mentally or physically. She stayed frozen in that 12-year-old body.
But she is a popular student and sexually active, first with a boy named Trey and then a new friend, Brandon.
In the spring, I noticed that they were getting very close, and that's when I had encouraged her to get on the pill. That's when I made her appointment for her to go to the doctor. I went with her. I sat in the lobby. She went back by herself. When she came out, I could tell that she had been crying, but I wouldn't say that she was horribly shaking or upset. I could just tell that she'd been crying. She kept everything a secret. She always has.
Skylar's secret this time is a big one. She is 8 months pregnant, weeks away from giving birth.
Skylar did not want to have to deal with her mother's wrath during her pregnancy and thought that she could get through school and then tell her mom that she was pregnant and then have a normal delivery process.
I absolutely had no idea.
I just thought that she'd gained weight.
Skylar believed that she had time. Most teenagers are naive. They put out of mind what they think they can do the next day or the next week, and they just live in that moment.
And her high school senior prom was just 9 days away.
Sky was very excited about prom, to be going with Brandon. First time she had had someone that she really cared about to go to prom with. We always go out to a little shop in Columbus. They have a great selection of dresses. She knew she wanted red. She hadn't had a red one before. It had a lace corset in the back. She loved it.
But Skylar's mom is worried she has put on weight and might not fit in the dress.
I always get stressed out because if her hair's not right, you know, with girls, they've got hair, nails, makeup, the whole thing. She wasn't exactly happy with herself, but she never is.
Prom night is a disaster.
It's supposed to be the perfect night, but she's having major cramping. And she's even mentioned it to Brandon that she has the worst cramps she's ever had.
Skylar is in a lot of pain at prom because she's in labor and still just plows through and goes forward with it.
Skylar keeps her secret from everyone. And then the next night, back home, Skylar makes a decision that will change her life forever.
Sometime when her mother, father, and brother were asleep, Skylar delivers a baby girl. She says she delivers it in the bathroom on the toilet.
I mean, I still can't believe that none of us woke up.
She says the umbilical cord is not attached, the baby is not breathing, it doesn't have a heartbeat.
I have no doubt it was a stillborn. There's no way that we wouldn't have heard or the dogs wouldn't have reacted or something.
And then takes the baby down the stairs into the garage, gets a garden trowel.
She names her daughter Annabelle, and then she buries the remains in the backyard.
It was very, very hard knowing that she had her own private funeral for Annabelle in the backyard.
Much later that day, Skylar sends a text and a photo to her mother from the gym. "My belly is back." And to her boyfriend, Brandon, saying she's so happy, without explaining why.
And she tells no one, not her mom, not her brother, who's her best friend, Not any of her girlfriends, certainly not her father. Nobody knows about this.
But this would be a secret that would not keep. Two months after burying baby Annabelle in her backyard, Skylar returned to the doctor's office for more birth control pills, where of course she was asked what happened to the baby.
Skylar Richardson had gone there for a follow-up appointment and told the doctors while she was there that she had delivered a baby that was not breathing and that she had subsequently buried her in the residence of her backyard.
The Warren County Sheriff's Office begins to investigate.
You can have a seat right there and on the other side, and we'll come in just a couple minutes, okay?
Skylar is brought by her father to the police station for questioning by detectives John Fain and Katie Gee.
As I was driving up there, I thought there might be some other explanation or probably something happened other than there was truly going to be the remains of a newborn infant in the backyard of the residence.
I said, can I be in there with her? He said, no, she's 18, we have to talk to her alone. I said, does she need an attorney? Oh, absolutely not, she's not in any trouble. Naively thinking that, why would a police officer lie to you?
But Detective Fain begins by giving Skylar her Miranda rights.
Can you read this part out loud for me, just that last paragraph?
I have read the statement of my rights and I fully understand what my rights are. I do not want a lawyer at this time and am willing to speak with law enforcement officers.
If you're okay, then just sign right there. There's no way other than just to come out and say it, okay? We got a call from the doctor's office.
Now Skylar knows her secret is out.
My parents are going to kill me. I didn't want to tell them. I didn't want to tell them at all. I still don't really want to tell them, but now they're going to know.
Without prompting, she says she did not harm her baby, something she will repeat more than a dozen times.
I didn't kill the doll.
Oh, we're not saying anything like that. That's not why you're here today. We're not saying that. Did you say her? Okay, it was a girl. What do you do then?
I stayed there with her for a little bit. I tried to see if maybe she'd wake up, but I had to bury her. And I think am I going to be in trouble for that? I know it wasn't right.
For trying to see if she could
breathe, and then I had to bury her.
Why do you decide you have to bury her?
I couldn't tell anybody.
Because you hadn't told anybody and you still didn't want to tell anybody?
It got really bad. I loved her. I didn't mean any harm to her.
It's not for us to say.
Are you going to put me in jail because of that?
No, I'm not. That's not why I'm here today, to try to put you in jail. We're still just trying to find out what happened, okay? Did you know where you would bury her?
I just wanted to bury her in my backyard so we could put flowers on her.
Okay.
At this point, had no idea what was going on.
Can I talk to my parents?
In just a minute, but I've got to step out just real quick and
I'm not going to stay the night.
Oh, honey, you just take a deep breath, okay? I'm going to stay in here with you, okay?
Detective Vane finally comes out and tells us sort of a synopsis of what happens. We're in shock.
I just checked out. I couldn't feel my body. I have very little memory of what transpired.
Just be honest, what's going to happen?
I don't know, okay? I'm in here observing.
Jail?
No. You're not going to jail today. No.
No, and I'm not going to.
Just relax, okay? Listen, just relax, okay?
I don't want to go to jail.
I know you don't. Just relax,
I don't have to go to jail, though, right?
Listen, I understand that you're sorry, and I understand that you're upset, and I understand that you didn't want this to happen, okay? Just take some deep breaths, okay? Things will be okay.
I don't have to go to jail.
You're not going to jail. Okay, we're not taking you to jail today. You're not going to jail, okay? So just...
What's the worst that's going to happen?
Honey, I don't know. This isn't my case, okay? He's talking. He just wants to get some things straightened up so that we can figure out exactly what happened. Are you being 100% honest with him? Okay.
I just want everybody to believe me because I don't want to be in trouble.
I understand.
He says you can go back and talk to her. Doesn't tell us that we're on camera being recorded.
I know. I mean, kids get pregnant every day. Pregnancy is not the end of the world.
I'm so sorry.
What did they tell you?
I think they want to know if I killed it myself.
Yeah, you'll go to jail.
I didn't, though.
Can you imagine the absolute horror that we just went through, not knowing what's going on?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, we can't fix this. There's
If
nothing
you go to
we can
jail,
do.
it's in the papers. It's everywhere.
The neighbors have already called me, and I know she was telling me that they're digging up stuff in her backyard. You're going to be on the news, though.
Oh, please, you're supposed to support me. I didn't.
Skylar, I am supportive, but I'm just saying.
I tell you guys.
Frank, that is wrong.
I know, but I didn't kill her.
Skylar, if they do an autopsy on the baby and they find out that it was living at the time of the birth, then you will go to jail.
I know I will.
The Richardsons' backyard is now a crime scene.
It was a nightmare. They had drones over our house.
The news people camped out all night.
Detective Fain got a search warrant to dig up the infant's remains, which had been decomposing for some 9 weeks.
It was a lengthy process, but we had recovered all the remains. So the coroner's office had had time also to conduct an examination of the remains of what they had left.
And the county coroner reports to the detectives that a forensic anthropologist observed charring on Annabelle's bones, suggesting a more sinister motive.
I said, "How certain is she?" He said, "She is absolutely and 100% certain that these bones were burned."
It is the turning point in the case, and Skylar is brought back for what would be a pivotal round of questioning.
I was told it was only going to be a few minutes. Kim and I are sitting outside.
With Detective Brandy Carter joining Fain for the session.
And I'm just going to be honest, I don't know how to say it any other way than we know there was more that happened, okay, than what you and I talked about the other day.
Skylar's lawyer, Charles Rickers.
Skylar holds the hand of the female officers in the room. She did not have a lawyer, her mom and dad weren't present, and she frankly thought that the police were there to help her.
And under questioning, Skylar is about to admit something she had repeatedly denied before, that the baby was born alive.
If you knew I didn't get the truth, and you still had to carry that weight with you.
I'm so sorry.
Is it possible that she maybe breathed a little bit, like maybe, before?
Maybe.
Okay. What are you doing there?
I put her in the towel.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like she was breathing when you were holding her and you held her too tight? Okay. I know. It's okay. It's okay. You can't. It's okay. You were trying.
I think that might kill her.
Okay. Okay.
When she just interjects out of the blue, "I think I might have killed her. I squeezed her too tight." Detective Carter and I were a little bit taken back by that because we hadn't asked her that, but she just offered that up on her own. What's going through my head right at that moment is that she admitted to killing her baby.
And the detectives seek to leave no room for doubt.
I just hard. I did not so hard, but just I just want her to go.
You think that's when she died?
Maybe.
It seemed now like I was speaking with someone who had done the crime that we were there for and was guilty and knew they were guilty. So now I know I'm going to ask questions about signs of life.
Did you hear anything like little gurgle sounds? Like they'll kind of make a gurgle sound?
I asked about gurgling, which was a word I introduced. Skylar had not used that word herself.
But it soon became Skylar's word.
She might have made a noise.
Made a noise? What kind of noise?
Maybe a little noise, a gurgle, but I didn't know if it was something else. And then I didn't hear another one.
So how do you know the baby was alive just a little bit? The Annabelle was alive a little bit.
I saw her arm maybe a little bit. Moving on.
They had what they needed.
Skylar had admitted to maybe accidentally killing her baby. I know at this point there's going to be an arrest that day.
She did give birth to a newborn infant. She caused the death of that infant. She subsequently burned the infant and buried the infant in the backyard of her own residence.
But the prosecutors and detectives were about to learn there would be a serious problem with what happened inside this interrogation room.
This case was a false confession.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Law and Crime. 20-year-old Brooke Skylar Richardson is facing aggravated murder, manslaughter, child endangerment, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse charges in connection with the death of her baby, Annabelle.
It became a news media feeding frenzy, known as the case of the high school cheerleader baby killer.
You're describing a spoiled, self-entitled teenager
who was more worried about vanity than keeping the life of a baby alive. That sounds really horrible.
Those are your words.
It took the life out of Skylar to hear those people say all those horrible things about
That she
her
knew wasn't
that
true.
she knew wasn't true.
And much of the public outrage grew out of the allegation that Skylar Richardson had burned the remains of her baby daughter.
That's when we find out how bad this has gotten.
The details were so horrific. Did she not just kill her infant, but she burned the remains?
The burning issue is what caused the prosecutor to indict Skylar for an aggravated murder.
And again, it was something that Skylar seems to admit in her second interrogation with Detectives Fain and Carter, after first repeatedly denying anything to do with burning.
Tell me about the fire. What fire?
It seemed to be a genuinely surprised reaction when we asked about the fire.
There's some evidence to show that there was some burning on her.
I didn't burn her. I promise on anything I didn't burn her. My dad has lots of bonfires, but I didn't burn her.
There was some charring and stuff on some of her bones, so.
I didn't burn her.
Are you sure?
I swear on anything.
You're sure?
That I'm sure of. I'm sure of.
Clearly, when they said something to her about burning, she had no idea what they were talking about.
Skylar was sobbing almost uncontrollably, and the detectives continued to press her on the burning because just before they began the interrogation, the county coroner had told Lieutenant Fain that was the finding of their forensic anthropologist, Dr. Elizabeth Murray.
He met us there and we're in the hallway just outside the door, and he just wanted to make sure we were certain and clear on the information that the baby's remains had been set on fire.
So the doctors know that there was fire of some sort or some kind of burning. They know for certain.
So now that I know that I have that, I'm going to be more direct with questions about the fire, and yes, I am looking to get an admission on that part.
There's still a lot more that we don't know that we just want. You're so close. Just give us all the truth that's left.
I've given you all the truth. I told you about squeezing her.
Detective Carter said something about cremating her. Did you possibly try to cremate her?
So I wonder if maybe it just was one of those things where you just thought, well, maybe I can do this, and because I think like a cremation, like I'm gonna have some ashes that I can keep of my daughter and keep them.
At one point, Skylar finally said, "I think I might have tried to cremate her a little bit."
Where'd you put her? No, I mean like before the lighter. Where was she? Okay, and then where? Okay. Well, so was she? So you're holding her, and then you grab the shovel and the lighter. Was it like one of those camping lighters, or was it just like a cigarette lighter, like a clicker with a long thing?
Like the long one you go.
Okay. So where do you take her to try to cremate her? You think? Trying to remember like where.
Yeah, she was in there.
In the hole? So you dug the hole first. Okay. And then you put her in the hole?
I guess I just.
Part of the remains, like did you start like at the bottom, at the top? It is what it is. You can't change it, Skylar. You're just.
I'm scared I'm afraid of it.
You are telling us what happened. Nothing's going to change what happened, okay? But your intention was to try to cremate her. So what part did you try to light?
We were relentless, for lack of a better word. During that second interview, we asked over and over until she admitted to the fire.
How big would you describe the fire? Would you say big? Would you say small? Was it tall? Was how like?
How far up did it go? Like, was it like shin? Like, you know, if you want to use like your forearm, was it like this far up? Was it this far up? Do you know how far up the fire went? Okay. What about to her, like chest area, stomach?
Maybe. To try to get it out.
What made you decide you wanted to get it out?
There was only one problem with this tearful confession of a burning baby, as detectives would later learn.
During the time in between the arrest and this trial, Dr. Murray recanted her initial observation. She no longer saw burning.
Many months later, when she takes her time, she admits her mistake, but it was too late. The prosecutor had already indicted Skylar for aggravated murder.
I remember being completely dumbfounded, because one thing about the forensic pathologists and scientists, they work in certainties. I was shocked at how that kind of mistake could be made.
Under aggressive questioning, Skylar Richardson had confessed to something that the doctor no longer said had happened.
And without Dr. Murray allegedly being so certain, we never would have done that. I thought this could blow this case for us, and at a minimum, make it an uphill battle for the prosecutors.
Yet, even with serious questions about whether Skylar Richardson had been coerced into making a false confession, prosecutors were confident they had the evidence to convict her at trial.
All right. On the court of town session, the Honorable Judge Oder presiding. Remain seated.
Case number 2017 CR 33292. We are now going to hear the opening statements. Mr. Knippen, you may proceed.
Steve Knippen is the first assistant prosecutor in Warren County.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today because the defendant, Brooke Richardson, murdered a baby that she didn't want and never intended to keep. She continued to lie and conceal this pregnancy because no one was ever going to find out about the truth of her pregnancy. She didn't start prenatal care. She didn't look at baby clothes, cribs, diapers, bottles. And she didn't research how to give her child up for adoption. She did nothing.
And Knippen told the jurors they should accept Skylar's words from the interrogation as the truth of what happened.
During this interview, Brooke admitted the following: that her daughter was alive for approximately 5 minutes. She saw her daughter's arms moving a little.
I saw her arms maybe a little bit.
Heard her gurgle and heard her cry.
What kind of noise?
Maybe noise. What kind of noise?
Maybe a little noise.
And just hours after putting her daughter in the ground, she documented her feelings about exactly what was going through her head at that time. I'm literally speechless with how happy I am.
We were there for every minute of it. It was very difficult to listen to and portray her in the worst possible manner. It was just horrible.
All right, Mr. Rickers, you may proceed.
This case comes down ultimately to the interrogations. Whether or not the police put words in Skylar's mouth, whether or not the statements Skylar made were true or possible. Now, what is not possible is a child catching on fire by touching it with a lighter. It is not possible. Babies are 80% water.
And Rickers tells the jury about someone who will not be testifying at the trial, the forensic anthropologist who mistakenly told police the baby's remains had been burned.
Her name is Dr. Murray, and you're not going to hear from her. They're not going to call her to the stand. Dr. Murray rushes. She admits that she rushes. She says the bones are burned. The bones are charred. This doctor, many weeks later, said I was wrong. She told the prosecutor's office I was wrong. She said, I ain't gonna lie to them and I ain't gonna lie for them. This case is about a rush to judgment. And it's all about that second interrogation. It's the whole case. Now they suggest Skylar hid her pregnancy because she is evil, because she had this sinister premeditated plan to kill a child. Skylar was a gentle, loving, kind individual who had problems would not hurt an insect, let alone being mean to a human being or a murderer.
When the prosecution called Skylar's boyfriend, Brandon, to testify, he invoked an Ohio law that courtroom cameras could not show his face.
I want to direct your attention to May 7th at 10:54 a.m.
And would you agree that's you saying, "Good morning, beautiful babe"?
Yes.
And she responds back, "Good morning, my amazing boy"?
Yeah.
When she responded back, "Good morning, my amazing boy," at 10:42 a.m., did you know that she had just buried a baby several hours prior?
No.
And her response to you at 11:45:11 on May 7th is, "I'll tell you all about it later, but last night was just like the worst ever, and I didn't go to sleep till 5:30, but I feel so much better this morning. I'm happy." Did you have any idea at that time what she was referring to when she said it was the worst night ever?
No.
At some point, you did start questioning her about who the father was. Do you recall that? And she responded back, "That guy, Trey, I used to date, who I never talk about. I'm so sorry for lying and for not telling you in the first place. I am so sorry. Please forgive me eventually. I'm so sorry." At your age, it had to have been pretty hard learning everything that was going on and knowing that all of that had been kept from you.
Yeah.
In the end, the outcome of the case would come down to the interrogation of Skylar Richardson and the testimony of the detective who led the questioning.
Sir, would you please state your name?
John Fain, spelling of the last name is F-A-I-N-E. I'm retired now, but it's a case I will definitely never forget.
Detective Fain would testify for 2 days about the interrogation, trying to defend and explain the techniques he used.
Sir, there were several times in that interview where you told her that you didn't believe that she purposely killed her baby. Do you remember hearing that?
Yes, I do.
I think I can speak for both of us. I don't think you killed her.
Why were you saying that?
We're at the part of the interview where I felt like and was pretty certain she was getting closer to confessing and telling us more of the truth, but just getting her to be comfortable enough to tell the truth.
Okay.
I felt like in the end, we treated Skylar the exact same way I would hope if it was one of my children they were treated if they were being questioned like that.
But that's not how Skylar's lawyer, Charles Rickers, saw it, not at all.
Good morning.
And the focus is very tight on that second interrogation session, in which Skylar confesses to giving birth to a live baby and then burning the remains.
I agree that she initially and several times denied that, yes.
And ultimately she was broken down, and she said she tried to cremate Annabelle just a little bit, right?
Can you define broken down?
Well, do you agree that you and Detective Carter were pretending that the main purpose of your interrogation of her was to help get Annabelle's remains back to her family for a proper burial?
And I think about your dad already contacting me, asking could he have her remains so you guys can do a burial. And I feel awful, but none of that can happen because the investigation just keeps going and going because we don't have the truth yet.
Would I agree that that was my main purpose?
That that's what you led Skylar to believe?
I know we alluded to that. I can't say I necessarily agree that that was, we made it clear to her that that was our main purpose, but that was certainly one of the things that we hope we would be able to accomplish.
The word cremate was used multiple times by you and Detective Carter before Skylar gave you the word back, is that correct?
Yes, the word was used by all three of us, yes.
So where do you take her to try to cremate her? But your intention was to try to cremate her.
I wondered, well, maybe she was going to try to cremate her.
And you and Detective Carter used that theme, cremation, multiple times before she used that word, is that correct?
No, I guess I wouldn't say used a theme. The word was used, but I'm not sure what you mean by creating a theme. I guess I don't feel like I had a theme that I was trying to create. But yes, I will agree I used that word several times as well as Detective Carter.
After you started to talk about this supposed cremation, you talked about needing to put out this fire, correct? You remember that?
Yes, sir.
What about someone seeing it? Were you worried about someone seeing a fire back there at that time of the night?
You wondered if you'd need water to put out the fire, right?
Are you sure you didn't use any water?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Fain, babies are 80% water, are they not?
I do not know the exact percentage, but it sounds accurate. I know at least 75.
More than adults?
Yes, sir.
Unlike a number of false confessions, we had something in this case that we could prove was scientifically impossible.
But like the fire, issue, you and Detective Carter refused to accept that Annabelle was dead upon delivery. Is that true?
Refused to accept that she was dead upon birth?
Yeah, you denied Skylar those statements that she'd repeatedly made, 29 plus times.
We don't refuse or accept. We're there merely as investigators. And as we all saw, even her parents who've known her for 18 years, he said they have trouble telling when she's lying or not because she does so much.
All eyes in the courtroom are now on Skylar. Was she a practiced liar or a confused teenager up against a pair of skilled interrogators?
If you're convicted of the highest, the most severe count in this particular case, the judge has no ability to do anything but sentence you to life in prison.
Ladies and gentlemen, shortly after murdering her daughter and placing her lifeless body in the dirt behind their home, Brooke Richardson sent 2 elated text messages to her mother that both contain the phrase, "My belly is back. My belly is back." Ladies and gentlemen, that belly was her child. That belly was her daughter, a daughter with fingers and toes, with hair on her head. There's only one reason that you wouldn't ask for help at that point. Only one reason you would force yourself to give birth in silence. And that's because that child was never going to see the light of day. Any mother in that situation, if they believe that their baby is in trouble, if they believe that their baby is in danger, would be begging for help. What does Brooke do? Nothing. If you want to know how she truly felt about her daughter after just putting her in the ground, what was her reaction before she was ever charged, before she ever spoke with the police? Back when she thought she got away with everything, how did she feel? I'm literally speechless with how happy I am.
We were very worried that Skylar would deteriorate throughout the trial process, just the mere stress of the situation.
She would just check out.
She made it a conscious effort not to show. That
She
was
checked out.
Charlie, they told her, you
cannot.
just need to keep your head up, look straight ahead, and she did her damnedest to do it.
Her lawyer, Charles Rickers, now asking the jury to consider why the prosecution stuck by its story that the baby had been burned.
Why'd they do it? Why would they come in here and tell all of us that this cremation and fire should be trusted? Why'd they do it? If they knew, they know. They know it's not possible. We all know. Our common sense tells us it's not possible. Science tells us it's not possible. Because they know that if you have reason to doubt what Skylar said about cremation and burning, then you have reason to doubt the other things she said that the detectives told her to say about signs of life. Well, we know in this case the odds are actually 0 that you can light a baby or a human being on fire with a lighter. It is impossible. If you have reason to doubt the burning, you have reason to doubt the signs of life.
That addressed the most serious counts: aggravated murder, involuntary manslaughter, and child endangerment. The 4th count for the jury to decide was abuse of a corpse.
And it is still a very serious felony. A conviction on that would label Skylar a felon. Women who kill their children, we've read about it, we've heard about it, throw them in dumpsters. They try to distance themselves from the body, throw them away in trash cans, like towels. Skylar named her child. She put her in a grave site that she could see from her bedroom window and kept her close, put flowers on her grave and marked the grave. You have to fight for Skylar. And this is the hardest part of any case, and that's passing the burden of Skylar on you. I trust you'll find her not guilty.
The jury of 7 women and 5 men begin their deliberations just before noon.
When you're waiting for a verdict, there is no way to properly prepare anyone for that feeling. It is the most intense moment of your life.
She's either going to prison for the rest of her life or she's going home. The jury deliberates 4 hours. I think we were all shocked by how quickly it came back.
Families start piling in the gallery.
Has the jury reached a verdict in the case?
We have.
The first count is the most serious, aggravated murder.
Would the defendant please rise? With regard to count 1, we, the jury, in the above captioned case, find the defendant, Brooke Schuyler Richardson, not guilty of the offense of aggravated murder. We, the jury, in the above captioned case, do hereby find the defendant, Brooke Schuyler Richardson, not guilty of the offense of involuntary manslaughter. We, the jury, find the defendant, Brooke Schuyler Richardson, not guilty of child endangerment. It does say we further find the defendant did not cause serious physical harm to the alleged victim, but that finding is not necessary as a matter of law. Verdict form number 4, we, the jury, in the above captioned case, find the defendant, Brooke Schuyler Richardson, guilty of the offense of abuse of a corpse.
It is the least serious of the 4 counts against her.
She knew what she had done was wrong, but she knew she was not guilty of the other charges. She could breathe again.
If I could describe my feeling after the verdict in one word, it would be relieved. I was just so happy for Schuyler. I just can't imagine what she was going through, facing potential life in prison.
But she still faced sentencing for the abuse of a corpse charge, with a potential of up to 3 years in prison.
I think justice was served with respect to, I think our system works.
Court's in recess.
The jury has a job to do. It's certainly not an easy job, especially with an 18-year-old girl facing 25 years to life in prison. The prosecution had a tough task, so I believe she got a fair trial.
The next day, facing the prospect of going to prison, Schuyler Richardson decides she will speak publicly for the first and only time.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would do anything and above that you ask, and I understand, and I just wanted to say how sorry I was. I can sometimes be selfish, but I would like to think that I've become better in the knowledge that I've upset everyone and hurt so many people with what I've done, and I'm forever sorry, and I'm so sorry. I'm really, really sorry, and I understand, and thank you.
You know, I have a daughter about your age, Ms. Richardson, and I have a granddaughter about the age that Annabelle would be right now. In all of this mess that we have with this case, I think what often gets overlooked, Ms. Richardson, is just how precious life is. Your life, Annabelle's life, life is precious, and it should be protected, and it should be guarded in all respects. And I have reviewed all of the expert reports in this case. I listened to the expert's testimony. I firmly believe, Ms. Richardson, in fact, I know in my heart that if you would have made different decisions in this case, Annabelle would be here today. And I know that might be difficult for you to hear, but I think that your choices before birth, during birth, and after show a grotesque disregard for life.
But after the harsh lecture, a light sentence,
I'm going to place you on 3 years of basic supervision, which means that you are going to be going home today.
but there was one more decision for the judge to make.
The Richardson family would like to bring closure for Annabelle and give her an eternal resting place. So we would request that you give the Richardson family Annabelle.
Mr. Richardson, do I have your word that those remains are going to be buried properly?
Absolutely, sir.
I am going to order that the remains of Annabelle be released to the Richardson family. I'm going to hold Mr. Richardson to the promise that he made here today, and if he does not keep that promise, he will answer to me in that regard. Good luck to you. We are in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Skylar Richardson has now enrolled in college and is receiving treatment for her eating disorder. She and Brandon are no longer a couple. The remains of Annabelle Grace Richardson are buried in a cemetery a few miles away from the Richardson home. Skylar is a regular visitor, making sure there are always fresh flowers on the grave.